There is no denying that summer brings the let's be outside energy. The sun is usually shining, the pool is calling our names, and the days are longer. If you're not careful, though, summer can do a number on your budget. You may be crushing it and killing it with your money goals, and then a few months of the summer season can undo all that progress. Don't let that be you, my friend. Fight the summer FOMO and the need to just spend without consequence. You'll be much better off for it. Trust me. In this episode, I'm sharing 5 hacks that keep me on track with my budget and goals, especially when the summer season temptation is calling my name. Hey there, I'm Raya Reeves, and over a decade ago, I turned my life around through budgeting. I went from being an overspender deep in credit card debt to being the founder and full-time money coach of City Girl Savings. Now, I help women work towards their dream life and tap into their financial power one budget at a time. I fully believe you can live a life you love with a budget, and I'm living proof. The weekly City Girl Savings podcast focuses on the intersection of money and the City Girl lifestyle. Join me every week along with some special guests as I share my experiences, advice, and guidance on navigating life and money as an experience-loving millennial. So before we get into the hacks that keep me on track financially, especially during the summer, I want to address something with you that you're probably thinking or wondering. What is Summer FOMO? Well, first, FOMO stands for fear of missing out, and summer is a prime time for it. FOMO is that little voice in your head that says, girl, you only live once. Just book that trip. Just buy that dress. Just go to that expensive brunch. You'll miss out on the experience of a lifetime if you don't. Obviously, that's not true, right? But that's where the issue with FOMO comes in. These thoughts are justified and acted on, especially in the moment or, on impulse. And then these spontaneous spends just stack up quickly. Now, I do want to add that FOMO isn't inherently bad, right? It just needs to be balanced with intention. It will help if you can spot FOMO in real time and just see how rational the thoughts of missing out actually are, right? Usually it's never that serious to say no or to skip the spending. But if it is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, if it truly is you missing out on something that you will never get the chance to experience again, that's where FOMO can help you really assess if it's worth it or not. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's usually never that serious. It's usually okay to say no. There will be future opportunities, not a big deal. Okay. And I want you to remember this. You can enjoy summer and be financially responsible. Okay, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You don't have to move into every year thinking summer is going to be your hot girl summer where you spend all your money. It doesn't have to be like that. You can have a hot girl summer and still have a growing bank account. Okay, so you can enjoy summer and be financially responsible. All right, now that I've gotten that off my chest, let's get into the 5 hacks that keep me on track with my budget and my goals, especially in the summer. So the first thing that helps significantly is I plan for fun in my budget. And let me just say, I know I talk about this a lot on the podcast, and that's because I want to break this stigma or notion that a budget means you can't have fun, because it's not true. Okay. But your budget should include fun, and that's going to be up to you to do. But here's the thing. Summer is not the time to act like spending won't happen, right? Like, we do need to be real with ourselves. Summer is a vibe, and spending likely will happen. So to sit here and pretend like it won't is just silly, right? Because it usually will. Between like brunches on the patio and last minute weekend trips or day parties, festivals, like the temptation to spend is everywhere in the summer. So instead of pretending that, I'll be super frugal all summer, like I'm going to sit here and fool myself, I plan for the fun. Okay. So that means when I do budget for the summer months, I literally create a line item called summer fun or spending for outside or fun money, right? Like it changes every month, but I don't care what you call it. Okay. Whatever you want to name that category, we just want to make sure it's there. Okay. So we should plan and account for fun spending in our budget for the summer. And this money, once it's accounted for in your budget, really can be used and spent guilt-free. And this is why I love having this category in my budget, because I know these are things that I plan for, I have money allocated to, and I'll want to say yes to. And it feels good to be able to say yes to spending that I know I can afford. It might be $50, it might be $200. The amount doesn't really matter. It's the intention behind it that really makes the difference. So when you plan for fun, okay, and I know we can't plan for everything, right? But we can move into the summer months knowing that, hey, we're going to be outside, we're going to be having some fun. So let's put some money towards that. When you plan for fun, it no longer feels like a setback when you spend your money on it, right? And I think that's part of the planning process. And you can enjoy yourself without this financial hangover that comes from overspending. Trust me, this one hack alone can make your whole summer feel so much lighter. I do just want to quickly add that fun money is actually a year-round category in my budget, not just in the summer. It is there permanently. I just spend a little extra time planning ahead for the summer money fun spending just because I know it's going to be there. But fun money is always in my budget. It's just a little bit higher in the summer months. The next hack that helps me keep me on financial track in the summer is I stack my calendar with free events. Okay. So I live in Austin, and Austin is a city that always has something going on. So I know I'm lucky in that sense, but I think no matter where you live, you can always find something free going on in the community or even in your surrounding communities. I think most people, myself included in the past, we blow our budget in the summer because we wait for the invites to come to us. And those invites usually come with some sort of price tag, okay? So instead, take control of your calendar by intentionally seeking out free or low-cost activities or events in your area. Another thing too is if you know you and your girlfriends like to travel in the summer, don't wait for the summer to start planning. Start planning in January so you're prepared financially and just, all around for a summer trip. So going back to free or low cost activities in your area, think things like outdoor yoga, movie nights in the park, free concerts, museum nights, local hikes, or even community block parties. These things are happening all the time in most places, and especially in the summer. You just have to go looking for them, but it's worth it. So for me, when I'm actually craving some activity and recreational things, I check Eventbrite, I check local Facebook groups, I even check the city's parks and recreation site for things to do. So I live in a suburb of Austin, so they have their own website, and I'll check it from time to time just to see what is happening really close to me. And, I literally, when I find something that I want to do, I will add it to my calendar and block off the time like it's an event I paid for, right? That way I'm already kind of mentally committed and less likely to spend on something else just out of boredom or impulse, right? I know what's coming. I know I have something in the works, and that usually gets my juices going. So the goal here is to fill up your fun tank, right, without draining your bank account. You can have a fun summer and be financially responsible, okay? So this will always help you feel like you're making the most of summer, you're getting out and about, and you're not breaking the bank doing so. Are you loving this episode so far? Well, the money and life level up conversations never end in the City Girl Savings community. Visit citygirlsavings.com for instant access to resources that help you budget, level up your money mindset, and so much more. And make sure you stay up to date with CGS by following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at City Girl Savings. All right, the next way I stay on track with my money budget goals in the summer is I get real with my friends, with my family, and with my partner about my budget goals. So I firmly believe that if you don't talk to the people closest to you about money, it's doing you more harm than good. I know it's uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to having those conversations, but it really is a game changer. I mean, listen, summer FOMO is usually fueled by social pressure, right? Like everyone's posting trips, everyone's making plans, everyone's inviting you to all the things. And it's just so easy to go along with it, even if your budget is saying, girl, don't, don't do it. I'm like literally picturing a meme where your bank account is like questioning your financial decisions. But again, if your friends and family and the people closest to you don't know that you're on a budget or that you've got money goals, they may be putting you in situations to spend money that they wouldn't normally do that. So you got to communicate. What's helped me the most is just being honest, right? Like I will not be afraid to tell my girlfriends like, hey, I'm working towards a financial goal right now. So like, I'm not really planning on doing anything this weekend. Want to do something low key instead. If you're coming into town, want to stop by or, I'm not afraid to have those conversations. And you would be surprised by how many friends are relieved when you actually say that, right? Because sometimes it just takes one of us opening the door to money conversations for everyone to be like, oh, yes, girl, me too. Because everyone's trying to save, right? Like nobody usually wants to be the first one to admit it, but it's okay if you are the first one to admit it. And here's the thing, if someone does not respect your financial goals and plans, I think that says more about them than it does about you, because real friends do not guilt you for being financially responsible. And you know what? The same actually goes for your family and your romantic partnerships, okay? Like when my fiance wants to do something that is like out of my budget, I'll tell him like it's not in my budget right now. And when I tell him that, he will usually pay since it was his idea and he wants to do it, or we'll find something else to do, right? Not a big deal. And I think it really helps establish that boundary between you and the person you're sharing this with. And like maybe they can help hold you accountable. Like extra accountability, especially as you're working towards your money goals, is never a bad thing. Okay, moving on to the next way I stay on track with my money and budget, especially in the summer, I limit my social media scrolling time. So I do want to say that I'm actually pretty good about this just in general, okay? Not just in the summer, but if you are an avid scroller, you'll probably find this so much more helpful for sticking to your summer budget. I mean, if we're being honest, social media is the ultimate FOMO machine, right? Every time you open your phone, someone's taking a vacation, someone's in a new destination, someone's at a new restaurant, someone's buying another outfit, and suddenly you feel like you need to be doing those things too. So if we're not careful, that scrolling session can quickly turn into a click and buy situation. And we want to avoid that. So during the summer, like me personally, I limit my screen time, especially on the weekends. And I know some people go as far as like removing the Instagram app from their phone for a few days at a time. No judgment, do whatever you need to do. Also, I want to add that I personally pay attention to who I follow. Like I want my social media feed to be curated by things that inspire me to level up and make smart choices, not things that actually pressure me into trying to keep up with someone else or trying to compete. I'm not here for that energy. So if you notice yourself spending more after being on social media, it might be time for you to do a little digital detox. And nowadays, there are so many apps and monitors and controls that you can put in place to help you limit your time on social media. Okay, next way I stick to my money and budget, especially in the summer, is I track my spending daily during the summer. But if I'm being real, I actually track my spending daily year round. Okay, so like that never stops for me. But I do pay extra close attention in the summer because I already know it's a season where I am out and about. Okay, so I'm much more aware and intentional. And, I don't maybe skip a day or two between tracking when it comes to the summer season. And I know, checking your budget, checking your bank account every single week probably doesn't sound like a vibe, but let me tell you, it has saved me from overspending so many times. It has saved my clients from overspending so many times because you better believe I make sure they track their spending as well. And since we meet weekly, we're able to use the information we see to make better choices. And, the thing about summer is sneaky. It's so easy to spend more in the summer just because there's so much going on. $30 here for a rooftop bar drink, or $25 there for Uber, $75 on cute new sandals. Like, it doesn't feel like a lot of money in the moment, but it does all add up. And if you wait until the end of the month to actually tally everything, you will feel like you overspent significantly. And you know what? It's even worse if you're using like buy now, pay later options, right? If you are, throwing things on Affirm or Klarna, you're doing yourself a disservice. Instead, I want you to just stay on top of your spending by checking your spending daily. Get a clear picture of where your money is going. This is why tracking is so important, because it really does give you the information you need, right? For me, if I've ever gone over in a specific category, I can pull back my spending for the rest of the month to make sure that I'm actually on track with my goals. And if I have done well with my spending in any particular category, I can celebrate that progress and keep going. I take the exact same approach with my clients too, like I mentioned. Okay. Now, I do want to just share something with you. If you feel like tracking your spending every single day just sounds so overwhelming and just gives you anxiety, you don't have to track daily, okay? But I would not recommend going any longer than a week. And in fact, bonus points if you can track on maybe like a Friday morning just before the weekend festivities, or if you can track weekly on a Sunday night to kind of get back on track with your spending for the upcoming week. We don't have to make this a whole anxiety-inducing process, right? But we do want it to be effective for you. And listen, this doesn't have to take hours, okay? It's usually just a 10-minute quick check-in using a budgeting app or a spreadsheet, or even just looking at your bank app, right? Doesn't have to be a time-consuming process, but it's so impactful. It's like washing your makeup off before going to bed after a night out. Like, you may not feel like doing it every time, but you'll be so glad you did. Tracking is the exact same. So, summer FOMO is real. I get it. We've all been there, but it doesn't have to derail your financial goals. I think a little planning, a little discipline, and intention can go a long way. Remember, you are not missing out. You are just choosing what matters more to you in the long run. And I do want you to know that summer is meant to be enjoyed. I don't care how old we are. Summer is always going to be a vibe, but you don't have to enjoy it at the expense of your goals, okay? So just be smart, be intentional, and it'll be worth it. These 5 hacks help me stay on track without feeling like I'm missing out, and I really hope they do the same for you. And just remember, you're not being strict, you're being strategic, and future you is already saying thank you. Thank you so much for letting me be the money coach in your ear today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the City Girl Savings Podcast and you feel empowered and motivated to take the next step in the journey to your dream life. Remember, if someone like me, a millennial who loves to travel, new experiences, and iced coffees can live a life they love on a budget, you can too.